Zimbabwe's MDC lists a number of voting irregularities and a drop in the Eurozone unemployment rate. Good day to you. Zimbabwe's opposition MDCs listed a number of voting irregularities in today's crucial elections. The party alleges that 2 million ballot papers with similar barcodes to existing ballots have been printed, and a high number of voters have been turned away from voting stations because of a chaotic voters' roll. The MDC also alleges that fake voters' registration cards are being printed, some polling stations are on wrong wards, and there's intimidation of voters in the rural areas. The MDC's Tendai Biti.
Thousands and thousands of people are being disenfranchised by virtue of not finding their names on the voters' roll in the area that they registered in 2000 and where they are supposed to register. All this is connected to the shenanigans around the voters' roll. If the voters' roll had been provided to people after the final voter registration date of the 9th of July,
Johannesburg residents will pay 7% more electricity tariffs this month. This after the city of Johannesburg increased the tariff at the beginning of the month, but has reduced the levy charge for using electricity to 1 cent per kilowatt per hour. Meanwhile, City Power has admitted that it was incorrectly charging a 1 cent per kilowatt levy on prepaid customers using less than 500 kilowatts. CEO Stelo Kulu.
During the implementation, there was a system error in terms of the application, and as soon as that was brought to our attention, that was then addressed accordingly, and obviously the customers that were impacted, there is then a refund in that particular area, and then the correction going forward from the system perspective. So that issue has been done.
Parliament's Minerals Committee's heard that the country's diamond production has gone down, but there's an increase in trade transactions. According to the South African Diamond and Precious Metals Regulator, more diamond traders from across the world are conducting their deals in the country. The regulator's Conrad Ben.
People are starting now to import diamonds. There's so many transactions taking place in the regulator. People are bringing so much diamonds to the country to cover for the shortfall because of the drop in the production. So that's why there's too much transaction. That should not be confused with a decline in industry. There's too much transaction, but not a lot of goods.
Reserve Bank Governor Jill Marcus will breathe a sigh of relief after the deficit on South Africa's current account came in below expectations. Figures from the South African Revenue Service show that the trade deficit for the month of June came in at 7.71 billion rand from May's 11 billion rand. The high deficit has in part put the rand under pressure over the last 18 months, causing a significant depreciation in the currency. Sizwe Nkalana is a chief economist at FNB.
While we do see the current account deficit narrowing at the -5.5% to -5% levels, it's still relatively large, and the funding of that deficit will remain a challenge. And so the smaller the deficit is, the less it subtracts from GDP growth, and therefore the more positive it is for the overall economic growth outcome for the year. And so this trend of a narrowing deficit is very positive from a GDP growth perspective.
Latest official figures show that unemployment in the 17 European Union countries that use the euro fell by 24,000 in June. The BBC's